Welcome back to another episode of Hip Hop Manor. Today I'm going to have a discussion and give a little insight on what it's like to be black in corporate America. There are a lot of people with the new year that are thinking about maybe changing careers or going in different directions. So, as someone who's been in corporate America most of their adult life, I want to give you a little insight on what it's really like. Not sugarcoating anything, not making anything bigger or diminishing, but giving you an accurate account of what it's really like to be black in corporate America. There's this, I believe it's a famous painting. I would show it, but before copyright issues, I can't really show it on this channel. I already got a strike for talking about something before that apparently I shouldn't have been talking about. So I'm trying to stay off punishment, so I won't be able to show the actual picture, but I will try to describe it to you so you can kind of in your mind get a visual on what I'm talking about. So it's a picture of a black man, a well-dressed black man. He's got a suit on, he's got a tie on, and he's peeling off this white mask. It almost looked like, I guess, equivalent of someone, a white person wearing blackface. But it's a black man dressed up professionally, suit, tie, and he's peeling this white mask off. I really love that painting. I actually, bought a copy of it, had it in my previous home, and I didn't put it up in my new home yet. I don't have much up, period, here as far as walls and paintings and things of that nature. I am a minimalist, but one thing at a time. So about this painting, I had it up in my previous home. With art, it's very subjective. So people are always going to give you their review and their comment on it, whether you ask them or not. So majority of people will come into the house and make a comment about it. Some people appreciate it and some people hated it. I mean, hated it because they didn't really get, the meaning, or I guess they just saw the visual and didn't think about what was behind it. The whole thing about art is it's up to each individual interpretation. So how I interpreted that painting is I saw myself in it. I saw myself in corporate America that I had to put on a mask. You had to put on this mask in order to play in their game and to assimilate. But the important thing is, at the end of the day, you have to remember that it's a mask. And that's what I really appreciate about that painting, because at the end of the day, you remember it's a mask and you peel it off because it's not who you are. It's what you put on to go to work. It's part of a uniform, but it's not who you are. But I could be wrong, and that's just my interpretation of it, and that's how I take it, and that's how I will continue to take it, and I will continue to love that painting. But okay, so that leads me into how I perceive corporate America. I want to lead into a couple stories and incidents in corporate America that I've experienced. Just a few, because this thing would go on for hours, and we don't really want to do that. Time is money. Money's time. All right, so let me give you a quick little example. Very small example, right? So it was around Thanksgiving time, and I was with a previous team, not a team that I'm on now. So I was on this previous team. It was around Thanksgiving, and we were discussing desserts. And everybody was talking about, they love pumpkin pie, and they can't wait for pumpkin pie. And I was like, I don't like pumpkin pie. I said, now if y'all talking about sweet potato pie, you got me. But anything outside of that, I don't even want to hear that. So, and let me say this, on that team, there were 2 black people, and myself included. So it's just me and one other black person. So I'm telling them, well, you know what, in my culture and in my neighborhood and my people, we prefer sweet potato pie. I'm not saying we don't eat pumpkin pie, but sweet potato pie is the thing. Like that's our thing. And they couldn't understand it. It's like, no, there's no way. I know you guys eat pumpkin pie too. So you're going to have to deal with people telling you what your people do, that you know firsthand. And another aspect of that is you're going to have people who know better but won't back you up. So I'm arguing, not even fully arguing, because I'm not going to argue with someone, I know something to be a fact, as opposed to people who are just assuming things. So, there were a couple of teams that were sitting around us. And, a couple of people came up to me afterwards like, look, I heard you. I heard the whole conversation. I was over there dying. Like, I can't believe they try and tell you, about sweet potato pie and everybody eats pumpkin pie. I was like, so why didn't you say anything? Like, why didn't you back me up? Just crickets. Quiet. So you're going to have to get used to that. People know, but they don't want to. This is the thing, right? So everyone knows you're black, but not everyone wants to be associated with things that are black. I know that sounds insane, but that's going to be a reality. Certain people are trying to play a game, and they're going to lose because they're playing a game and they're not being authentic. You'll never win like that. Me, I am who I am. Me, I don't know how to be anything but authentic. So in those situations, if I know that majority of my people don't do something, I'm going to say it. So you can take that as, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, or he's always bringing race into something. But if something's a fact, I'm going to speak on it. And I'm not going to downplay it just, so somebody else can feel better for themselves. Maybe somebody needs to hear something. And, that is just such a small example of what I'm talking about. And these things range from something small like, look, we eat sweet potato pie. No, you guys don't. I can't believe it. Or something major. And with that range, you're going to have to determine what you engage and what you don't. Not everything needs to be an argument. Certain things you just got to let be, like, you're ignorant or you're stupid. And either one, I don't feel like entertaining that. There are other things that kind of need to be addressed or nothing's going to change. So with that, experience comes into play. So you're going to have to gauge on what you need to speak on and what you just need to, like, I don't even need to talk to you. And you don't need to talk to everybody. You are there for a job. You're not there to make friends. Always remember that. Those people that call themselves your friends will be the same ones that will backstab you and throw you under the bus. And that is a trait of corporate America, no matter what your race is. So another aspect that you're going to have to deal with, depending on what type of individual you are, if you're a real person, if you're a real authentic, you are black, you love yourself, you love your race, it may be difficult for you to find people that you connect with. You're going to encounter a lot of individuals that are black but may not coincide with how you move. So, first of all, I will never discredit someone from being black on the way they talk or the way they act. That's just ignorant. Anyone who says someone that speaks well, they're not black, you're ignorant. So let's just get that off the table. My problem is trying to identify with black people who don't really fully want to identify themselves as black. Yes, they are black, they look black, but when you have discussions on black things, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me give a small little example again. Now, I personally don't eat potato salad. I know it's crazy. I'm black. I don't like potato salad. But guess what? I know the majority of black people do. When you go to a cookout, there are two questions. Where's the potato salad and who made it? I know that. I can't stand when people say, well, we don't do that in my family, so I don't know what you're talking about. That's fine. But you try to discredit knowing that everybody in the culture, the majority of people in the culture enjoy something. When you try to discredit or or separate yourself that much from the culture and what we do as a people, or certain things that may be commonplace, that's when I have a problem with you. Like I said, I don't like potato salad, but I know if I'm going to a barbecue, there's going to be some potato salad. But if you're like, well, we don't eat potato salad, so I wouldn't know anything about that. You encounter that a lot. So that type of stuff I kind of stay away from because I'm not on that time. That's not my thing. That's you. That's cool. Hope it works out for you. What makes it difficult for me is being born and raised in Philly. So you come up a certain way. Um, I'm professional when it's time to be professional. When I'm conducting business, I'm in meetings, leading meetings. There's no ebonics, nothing of that nature. But in the big scope of the day, you can tell I'm from Philly. You can hear it in the way I talk, the way I walk. It's kind of like a swag that we have. You either have it or you don't. But I think, when someone comes from where I come from, sometimes they try to leave all that behind and they kind of forget who they are. And that makes it hard for me to identify with you because no matter how successful I am, I'm still that person. Am I hood? No, I'm not saying that. Am I ignorant? No, that's not what I'm speaking on. But I know where I'm come from, and I still have a love for that. For when people kind of downgrade or don't want to acknowledge certain things that we went through as part of making up who you are now, that makes it difficult for me to connect with. Now, that's not everybody, that's just a small segment, but that is what you're going to encounter. You're going to encounter that, then you're going to encounter people who completely didn't grow up anything close to like you. So then it's really hard to connect. It's like, man, I didn't have it easy like that. I didn't have anybody help me. So, they lived a different life. But that doesn't mean you can't be cool because you can be cooler with those people than somebody, that was raised around the corner from you. So it's all relative. What I will stress is you have to be open-minded. All right. So I'm going to give one more story, one more short story. I don't think it's that minor, but it kind of did hit me a little differently. So let me tell you the story. So we were having a meeting, and sometimes we have like fun little conversations or questions before we get into real issues. So the questions were name two subjects in high school that you really liked, or a teacher that you really liked, and one subject that you didn't like, or a teacher that you didn't like, and why. So I'm waiting my turn. I'm listening to everybody tell these stories about high school. And I'm hearing a lot of people talk about they had these programming classes, robotic classes, laser classes, things of that nature. And the majority of my coworkers at that time are older than me. So we're not talking about younger kids and new programs that just came out. So we're talking about older coworkers where things were already established. So now it's my turn to talk. So I go into a story about when I was in high school. It was in February. I remember it was Black History Month. And in history class, me and my friend were going back and forth with the teacher. Like, hey, can we learn some Black history? Can we learn something about ourselves? Can we learn who we are? And which we never did. And unfortunately, like, honestly, at that school, we never learned any Black history. I don't know if that was true for other grades or other schools, but I'm telling you, my class, we didn't learn any Black history. And it's pretty sad because the majority of the student body was African American. So go figure. Why would we want to know about ourselves? But anyway, so back to the story. So we're going back and forth with the teacher and like, well, why can't we learn anything? The teacher tells us, well, you were slaves during this time and you weren't really contributing anything to America. Literally told us that. And then we got kicked out and we had to sit in the principal's office. The principal asked us what we were doing there. We explained it to him. That was it. I don't know what that says about that situation because I don't know if the principal should have did something or why everybody was just okay with it. I don't know. But like I said, back to the story. That's neither here nor there. Um, so I was given that account of, you know, my high school experience where all I wanted to do, and all we wanted to do was learn about ourselves. Anything, right? And I'm hearing these guys tell me about programming classes, robotic classes. Then I turn around and tell them it's insane that I'm hearing you guys talk about this because in my school, we didn't have enough books. We literally had maybe 4 or 5 books in the class, and we used to all huddle around. So it'd be like 3, 4 of us around a book. And it's time to read, we would just pass the book to the next person. They have so many advantages over us. Being black in corporate America, you realize these things, and sometimes it takes you a while to see them. It's not an excuse, it's not a means to look differently upon yourself or to hate anybody else, but the honest truth is they start with advantages that we don't have. And I think we need to acknowledge our achievements of catching up and even surpassing in most cases. People don't speak on that. I don't know where I'd be if I actually had programming in school. Now, I'm an automation engineer right now. I had to go to college for all that. I never even, well, we didn't have a computer when I was coming up. We didn't have those type of resources. I just wonder where a lot of people in my community would be if we had those type of resources. So I think it becomes interesting when you start hearing your coworkers tell stories about their upbringings because they can be so much different from yours. And a lot of times, I guess when I was younger, I probably would be angry about those things. But now I'm older, I just appreciate our struggle that much more. I don't think we take enough pride in what we do and what we have achieved. I think we're so used to struggling every single day that it's hard for us to sometimes take a step back and appreciate what we have done and where we have come from. That conversation of listening to those people with all these resources supplied to them and don't even appreciate it. And I look around and I think about all the people I grew up with. If they only had those resources, what they could have done. So that's a small glimpse of what it's like to be black in corporate America. It's a interesting journey. A lot of maturity comes from it because you have to learn how to deal with things. I think it's good on that front because you get exposed to so much that you normally wouldn't be exposed to, and you have to learn how to digest that information and what to do with it. Hopefully I gave you some insight, some type of takeaway, and I hope that regardless if you're in corporate America or whatever you're doing, if you're working a 9 to 5, if you're employed, you're an entrepreneur, sometimes we need to take a step back and really appreciate what you've accomplished. We all have goals and we want to move forward and achieve those goals, but sometimes just take a break, step back, and appreciate what you've done and what you've accomplished. Because I'm pretty sure that you haven't really taken that into account, or really you appreciate what you've done. No one else is going to do it for you. Do it for yourself. Take a step back and appreciate what you've done.